Hi, Com 610 720. I hope this finds each of you well. Please see Dr. Brown's announcement in the announcement section of Blackboard regarding your final transmedia campaign paper. Okay, Forum 11, let's go. This week we focused on Bauman's Turtle and the Peacock, the collaboration for pro-social change, the entertainment education strategy for television. I hope each of you enjoyed the read. Bauman covered a lot of ground, so let's jump right in with question one. Question one, Dr. Brown asks, what are the two primary routes of persuasion that Bauman discusses and that we need to think about when promoting pro-social issues through entertainment? So in this question, we get to the elaboration likelihood model. Most everybody did a really great job on this one. We know that it's from Richard Petty and Cacioppo. I don't know, I'm Italian, but I don't speak Italian. The theory explains how people change their attitudes through communication. ELM considers different variables that affect persuasion and the strength of the resulting judgments. One thing that I thought was important to note is that yes, we note in here the central and the peripheral routes, but both the central and peripheral routes processes, they can influence attitudes at the same time. But it's important to remember that as elaboration likelihood increases, the central processes become more dominant in their impact on attitudes. So for example, let's think about purchasing a car. Okay, if we wanted to think about the central route, that's going to involve a high amount of elaboration or high involvement. Okay, so we're going to be thinking about fuel efficiency, oil changes for life, warranty information, if there are safety ratings, reliability ratings. Okay. That's if we're using the central route. Now, if we're looking at the peripheral route for persuasion, we're going to be looking at things like, oh, hey, Matthew McConaughey is supporting Lincoln Navigator, and I like him. He's one of my favorite celebrities, so I think I'm going to buy a Lincoln Navigator, okay? Or red is my favorite color, so this car is red. I'm going to buy this car. Or we could also think about it in terms of my neighbor drives this car and I want to have a nicer car than my neighbor, okay? So that keeping up with the Joneses, that would all be impacted through the peripheral route of persuasion. Let's see. Everyone did a good job with this. Holly, Lucas, Daryl, Julie, really, really good work. Let's see. Question two, among the several theories that Bauman discusses as foundations for entertainment education, what stood out to you about her theoretical perspective? I love questions like this Dr. Brown poses because it allows us to really think about things in terms of how do we apply them in our own lives, what stands out to us, and there are reasons that certain things resonate with us and certain things don't, okay? So social learning theory, Holly and Lucas, play theory, Lucas, Daryl, and Julie, health communication, Cassie. We've looked a lot at health communication so far this semester. Agenda setting garnered a lot of attention. Let's see, Josh, Daniel, Sadiqa. But you know, guys, if you're interested in learning more about agenda setting, one of the courses here at Regent is taught by Dr. Gardner, and it's called Political Communication. I took that course, I think it's offered in the summertime, and it was fantastic. So if you need an elective, and I see a lot of people here in this discussion are interested in agenda setting because it did get a lot of attention, you may want to look into that course. Okay, Frederick, very thorough work. Frederick, he selected social cognition, agenda setting, and uses and gratification, and that was on page 60 and 61 of the text. He also gave an example of the Cosby Show for that. That was a good example. I really enjoyed that show. Okay, question 3. Dr. Brown would like to know, from Bauman's perspective, why is health education and promotion an especially good area to address through television? Remember, we studied Humlog earlier. Let's see. Lucas, Julie, Holly all mentioned McQuail's 4 different approaches to health and medical programs, including the medical approach, the consumer approach, the environmental approach, and the looking after yourself approach. Okay? Kiri says, quote, however, the primary reason Bauman cites is the increase in target groups having access to more mass media, but also the increase in number of broadcast channels. With larger audiences, the organizations have the ability to address health issues on a massive scale. They can also address those low socioeconomic target groups who may never be exposed to health education in any other way. Good job, Kiri. All right, let's go over to question 4. Why did Bauman choose a turtle and a peacock to represent the 2 main groups collaborating on entertainment education productions? Everyone did a good job of demonstrating this concept. Cassie shares, Cassie, you did a really good job on this one. Quote, the turtle represents the professional healthcare system, particularly bureaucracies, which are oftentimes slow to react and adapt to new ways of doing things, such as the utilization of entertainment education as a means of disseminating accurate healthcare information to the television viewers. The peacock, on the other hand, represents the entertainment industry as a whole and the need for those within that industry to puff and bluster as means of overinflating their products and projects through unnecessary or superfluous additions. Very good. Question 5. What are hindrances to the church's full use of EE strategy as explained by Colin Harbison in the Redeeming the Arts paper? Holly writes, quote, Harbison claimed that the evangelical communities have always tended to neglect the arts. Imagination has been neglected as a resource for helping us to think more clearly about the world. And that's on page 3, if anyone would like to reference that. He talked about how essential it is for Christians to recover their own imaginations so they can reach other imaginations. You know, if you guys haven't read Imaginative Apologetics by Davison or Cultural Apologetics, that was written by Paul Gould. Those are both really good reads if you are interested. Also, The Surprising Imagination of C.S. Lewis. Top-notch stuff. Let's see. Lucas details the areas of education, discipleship, and transformation, including developing global networks of Christ-centered arts organizations, reintegrating artists in the church's life and mission. At my church, we have the Stations of the Cross around our church, and they were painted by a local artist from Tidewater Community College. And so I think that's a beautiful way to bring in local artists into the church. And it's and we focus on those for our prayers. So that's just a beautiful way to incorporate arts. You know, I had mentioned the surprising imagination of C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis was attracted to Christianity before his conversion, and he explained that the Bible is a story that makes sense of things. He said Christianity, quote, allowed people to see themselves and their worlds in a new way, as if the sun had dawned on an otherwise shadowy and misty landscape. This led Lewis to write, quote, I believe in Christianity as I believe in the sun, as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else. So great work this week, everybody. I wish you all peace. And Sunday coming up is Palm Sunday, so be sure that you are organizing your work and managing your time appropriately as we head into Holy Week. Just know that as we prepare for the beginning of Holy Week, that you are prayed for every day. And I want to encourage you in your faith journey this week and in our final week of the Lenten season to draw closer to Christ and know his love, and that you are prayed for every day, and you are cared for deeply. So wishing you all the best week. Don't forget to look at Dr. Brown's announcement on in the announcements section of Blackboard, and I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.